Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Now, at a time when, sadly, religious polarization has come to be the fulcrum of most debates and the political narrative, one order passed by the Noida police has led to a massive controversy. This order passed by the Noida police of Sector 58 asking MNCs to ensure that their employees do not offer namaz in open public spaces, including parks, in Sector 58 Noida. So this is what the order copy issued by the Noida SSP stated. Noida Sector 58 police sent the notice to all the companies which are located in the industrial area of Sector 58 asking them to adhere to this restriction. According to the notice, no religious function can take place in public parks. The notice then specifically talks about namaz being offered by the Muslim community in parks in Sector 58. It further adds that the company will be held accountable if Muslim employees offer namaz in public spaces like parks. Now, they are asked to offer Friday prayers in mosques, Eidgahs, or inside the premises of the company. An all-out political row now has erupted over this order, where sadly, once again, the political narrative is being pitched on religious ground. AIMIM Chief Asaduddin Owaisi has lashed out at the UP cops, leading a scathing attack. Owaisi said that the UP cops literally showered petals for Kavariyas, but namaz once a week means disrupting peace and harmony. Owaisi also questioned how one can hold an MNC liable for what their employees do in individual capacity. Now, this after the UP police issued a directive to companies operating in Noida that Muslim employees must be warned against namaz in parks. And if that is not done, then the company in question will be held liable. Well, what was Mr. Owaisi referring to shower petals on Kavariyas? Mr. Owaisi was referring to this image on your television screen, a controversial image of the UP additional DGP showering flower petals from a helicopter on Kavariyas who had gathered in a public space in Meerut, which he said reeked of double standards, as the police is not even allowing Muslims in Noida to offer namaz, practice their faith. However, we at India Today, we would want to give you both sides of the story. Was the namaz order selective or was it completely undiscriminating? We want to put both points right there for our viewers. Now, was it selective? Well, no law and order situation so far has ever taken place. Was it undiscriminatory? This is what the police said. The police said the order only for specific areas in Noida, selective. Roads blocked for Kavariyas every year. Undiscriminatory, police claim crackdown as per Supreme Court directive. Selective, unconstitutional to deny right to practice faith. Undiscriminatory, order for all religious events, because this order issued by the Noida is not just for the Muslims. Of course, it talks in details about the Muslim offering namaz, but is for all religious events. Selective, Surya Namaskars are allowed to be offered in parks. Why not Muslim prayers? Undiscriminatory, increasing numbers, logistical hazard is what the police is saying.
मैं समझता हूं कि जो कानून आड़े आ जाए उसे धर्म से जोड़ देते हैं, तो कानून का पालन करना चाहिए। नमाज पढ़ने के लिए कोई जरूरी है कि आप पार्क को कब्जा कर लें? आप अपने घर में पढ़ें, मस्जिद में पढ़ें, जहां हो वहां पढ़ें।
सरकार और प्रशासन भी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यकर्ताओं की तरह काम कर रहे हैं, और चुनाव आते आते, क्योंकि चुनाव में कोई काम तो है बता नहीं पाएंगे, तो आखिरकार यही तो काम करेंगे कि आप नमाज मत पढ़िए।
ये नोएडा प्रशासन के, पुलिस के इस कर्तव्य को और इस नोटिस को लेकर के हम अचंभे में हैं। ये आज़ाद भारत में पहली बार पुलिस प्रशासन के द्वारा की गई कार्रवाई है, हम इसकी निंदा करते हैं।
Now, what can happen here in terms of speaking legally from the purview of the courts? There is an example that we'd like to give of Gurgaon. Now, in Gurgaon, Namaz, which was being offered in public spaces, was, of course, right-wingers, especially even the police, got heavily down on that. But having said that, 2 petitions were filed in court, and later on, permission was granted to offer namaz in public spaces. How did, can that order, that executive order, be applied in this case in Noida, in Sector 58, the order that has been given by the UP police? I want to bring in my colleague Anisha to give us a larger understanding of that. Anisha, what happened in Gurgaon vis-a-vis in what's happening in Noida? Can we compare the two?
Well, see, permission with regard to use of public spaces is granted by the local authorities. Now, the issue here is that whether there was ever any request for use of the public land. Now, what legally the problem is that unless there is a prohibition already, you don't actually need permission to use a public space. So, had anybody ever complained is the question. Was there ever a prohibition by the police or the local authority saying that don't use this park for any purpose? There are judgments from the High Courts and
I just want to come in, Anisha, and the reason why I'm coming in is because the UP police, and the order also states that the order has been issued because locals around have complained because it becomes a logistical nightmare when large numbers gather.
Yes, but depends on the numbers as well, right, Preeti? Because the question is, was there an order before this namaz practice started? Did somebody ask for permission? Did somebody complain? And those are issues that we don't actually have clarity on at this moment, because the Noida police in their order has simply said, we are following a judgment. The judgment was specifically with regard to violation of 144 and gathering and large gatherings which create nuisance. So,
are they saying that these were elements that were creating nuisance?
That is exactly what the Noida police will have to answer upon. Was there a nuisance complaint? Was there an order from the police or the local authorities saying that no, this issue or this kind of gathering is causing a nuisance? So all of that will have to be looked into, and that is something that the Noida authorities are going to have to answer to.
All right. Anisha, I'm going to just let you go, and before I let you go, I'll quickly and encapsulate it for our viewers. So categorically what you're saying is that the Noida police here is wrongly quoting a Supreme Court order in this regard.
Well, we'll have to see how they are claiming they're quoting this order, because the Supreme Court as well as High Court orders are with regard to large gatherings that specifically cause a nuisance. So if the police is saying that there were nuisance complaints, and that is why we already had an order saying do not hold this kind of a gathering, then yes, their order is perfectly correct if they've already taken that step. But if nothing was such thing was done, then it is wrong.
Well, it's interesting. Thank you, Anisha, for joining us and giving us that perspective, because this police say that they are purely following orders of the Supreme Court. And that's the reason why today we had Anisha in the studio who elaborated a little more on what that Supreme Court order is, because there's a fine print there. And that order pertains to if somebody is causing nuisance in a public space. So does the police somewhere down the line have a complaint, or do they understand that the men who had gathered there to offer namaz had been causing nuisance? We're going to keep tracking the story. Appreciate you joining us, Anisha, and we're going to go into the big questions before our big debate on To The Point. So the big questions we're asking this evening: namaz diktat selective or undiscriminating? The second question that we're asking: double standards charge on Yogi government tenable? Well, Mr. Owaisi says it smacks nothing but of double standards. Shower petals on Kavadias gathering in public spaces who openly flout traffic rules, but refuse a public space for people who want to offer namaz. The third question we ask: why hold employers responsible for violation of order? It's interesting because let's look at the order copy, and right in the end, the last two lines go on to suggest very clearly that employers will be held responsible if the employees continue to offer namaz in the park. All right, let's cut across first to Zafar Sareshwala, loyalist of the Bharatiya Janata Party, Narendra Modi loyalist. And the question that we ask is, Mr. Zafar Sareshwala, do you feel the Muslim community today is being targeted by the Noida police?
No, see, I have no problem with BJP as such, because I will judge BJP as a government in the center with what they have done or they have not done. I mean, my measurement would only be that. Other than that, so many things are happening, and my advice to Muslim community is that they should concentrate on the real issues. with regards to this Noida order which you said, I mean, I am quite surprised that it is only Friday Namaz, and this has been happening for almost 10 to 15 years. And why it is happening? Because in that whole area, in 10-15 kilometer radius, there is not a single mosque. So, and it was supported by the Hindus in that area. Even in Bombay, if you take Mumbai, in Nariman Point, Fort, there are several places in buildings where non-Muslims have given space to Muslims to perform that Friday prayer. And that Friday prayer, it takes about 15 to 20 minutes, totally. It is pure prayer, nothing else. Now, if you target even a simple thing like, you know, performing prayer, I mean, what would we understand with this?
Mr. Zafar Sareshwala, stay on with me. I'm going to introduce our other panelists and I'm coming right back to you. I want to quickly introduce Asad Khan Falahi, Islamic scholar. He's in the studio with me. I have Anila Singh, Bharatiya Janata Party leader. I also have Juhi Singh, Samajwadi Party spokesperson. Anila Singh, you just heard Mr. Zafar Sareshwala there saying that what was the problem one still doesn't quite understand. Give us, you know, some clarity, Ms. Singh, because if you look at the order copy cites a Supreme Court order, says that they are following the Supreme Court judgment. Look at the fine print. The Supreme Court judgment says that if nuisance is being caused. So is the UP police somewhere down the line saying that these men who gathered to offer namaz were causing nuisance? Because that needs to be accepted then. Because otherwise this order is untenable.
Preeti, we must understand one thing. The primary duty of the police force of any place, any district, is to maintain communal harmony so that no law and order situation arises there. So if we talk about Sector 58, this particular park issue, then yes, like some odd 10 or 20 people, they started doing namaz there. Then the number increased to somewhere around 900 to 1,000. So you can very well imagine.
So you're saying they were causing a nuisance, Anila Singh?
Park is there. Park is meant for playing. And when
Anila Singh, are you saying they were causing a nuisance is my question.
I am coming to that. When 900,000 people, I am coming to that only, Preeti, please. I think so. Because I'm not in the studio. Whatever the time takes, my voice to you, I think by that time you should at least wait. Let me respond. That is what I am saying. That around 900 to 1,000 people, when at one particular time they get together in the industrial area, in that particular area, and they walk in and they walk out, it becomes little problematic for others. That is why this issue came in the eyes of the SSP Noida. And secondly, one more thing I just want to say here, because elections are around the corner and there are certain forces, whether they may be in the form of the political parties or some other forces, they do not want communal harmony in our state. Like today, today people are going there and doing namaz. Tomorrow, some Hindus, they may gather and they'll say कि हम तो यहाँ पर कीर्तन करने वाले हैं. So just imagine what situation will be there.
All right, stay with me.
So it is
now,
better, precaution is better than cure.
All right, okay.
We
so
should
Anila, stay with me. Okay, stay with me.
We should not politicize the matter on the communal line.
Anila, now you made your point. Stay with me. I want to ask our producers to pull out one visual and I'll bring in Juhi Singh and Anila. I'd like you to answer that question too. I'll ask our producers to pull out the ADG of Meerut showering flower petals from a helicopter on Kawadiyas who had gathered in public spaces, which were thousands. And you say that the park was causing a problem, right? That's what you're saying, Anila, that the park was causing a problem because 500 of men were gathered there. Now, this is a sea of people gathered on roads and the gentleman belongs to the forces and he's showering flower petals there. Juhi Singh, why should this not smack of double standards, go in the face of what Ms. Anila Singh is also trying to convey today?
Preeti, because the UP government and Yogi Adityanath likes to quote such controversies, so he doesn't have to answer questions. The second part of your question is very important. Is it within the rights of the district administration, the SSP, to issue orders to various companies that they must do a religious profiling of their employees and then be held liable as to where they pray and when they pray? I mean, what sort of a message are we trying to send? And is the SSP not being able to maintain law and order? He has a lot allowed to answer. His order itself is very self-explanatory, that who was creating this law and order problem? Does he have specific complaints, or those complaints really something which he likes to keep under wraps? And it's not within his official duties to ask various companies. He has to answer on that. So there are various other issues to be discussed. Nobody is politicizing it. I would like to say to the BJP spokesperson, please, you also don't pay attention to the lack of governance in UP, and Yogi Adityanath may please answer this. And this person who was showering petals tweeted this photograph from his own official handle, and then he deleted it also. So what sort of person are you really, I mean, what sort of mandate are you giving your police force is definitely something which we'll question.
All right, I have Asad Khan Falahi. He's an Islamic scholar and he's joining in the studio with us. Mr. Falahi, why do you think that this order is I'm going to come to you, Anila. Let me bring in all our panelists and I'm coming right back to you. Mr. Falahi, why do you think this order is discriminatory?
First of all, I personally think public places should not be used for offering namaz. But why selective approach? When one-sided, you can see that. Thank you so much for displaying this picture so that the Anila Singh ji and all panelists can see that. When you are showering petals on Kavadiya and other people, so why you have a problem with the namaz when there was no any complaint against this park or something like that, and it is not causing any nuisance and unnecessary, you are trying to prohibited people to offering the namaz, and the problem is that we have less number of masjid. So in a Friday prayers, all the Muslims try to offer the namaz and they gather somewhere and offer the namaz. The problem is that when you have a selective approach, when you have a biased approach that Muslims should not offer namaz, you are trying to prevent them to following their religion, then we have a problem. Then someone can say that when you are showering flowers on Kavadiya and doing arrangement for them, so why you are not arranging the special arrangement for Jummah prayers? When you can do the same thing, the responsibility on the administration.
All right, so Anila Singh, I'd like to bring you in again. Now, madam, let's take it from the top. You said that 900 men gathering together causing nuisance. You had a road which was a highway full of Kavadiyas where you have a police personnel who's showering flower petals from a helicopter. Now, you have the SP in Noida quoting a Supreme Court order which only hinges on the fact that it cannot be allowed if they are causing nuisance. Now, tell me, madam, why shouldn't people think that this order is selective?
To start with, Preeti, number one, it is not selective, and as SSP Noida, he has cleared it in very.
He's quoting a Supreme Court order, sir. Madam, but the Supreme Court order, there is a fine print.
SSP himself has given. But he has given the clarity, it is for all people, not for one particular religious community. He has cleared it.
Was there any complaint?
So, and the letter which has been issued by the SO, Falai Saab, एक second, मैं जवाब दे रही हूँ ना, मैं जवाब दे रही हूँ, आप अति उत्तेजित मत होइए. भारतीय जनता पार्टी doesn't believes in appeasement politics, but we want the empowerment with the dignity.
So can we not talk over each other? I would really. No, I'm sorry. Can we turn down the fader? Please do not talk over each other. Please do not. Let's stick to the topic. Sir, it will serve everyone well if we stick to the topic. Anila Singh, please answer the question.
That is not a proper way, Falai Saab. Whatever effort you do, whatever panel discussions are there, let me make myself very clear.
No, sir, both of you are digressing. Both of you are digressing.
We are going to do.
I don't think you have. I'll cut across to the final question to Mr. Zafar Sareshwala.
The party has come into power. We never had a communal.
Don't drag other
Mrs. Zafar Sareshwala, do you think
your administration?
Do you think, Mr. Zafar Sareshwala, do you think that this will further lead to the polarization lines getting only deeper?
I don't think it will polarize much because, when they said no, the Muslims did not perform their namaz last Friday. But this is a very sad story of what's happening in the country. And, well, the positive side is that these are isolated instances. I mean, I know even now in Delhi, in Gurgaon, in Mumbai, so many places. There are several places where Hindus have given their premises for Friday prayers. So still there is lot of positivity. These are isolated incidents and I don't think they come into the narrative. One or two isolated incidents. But overall, even now as we are talking, there are several places in the country where Friday prayers are being done.
Mr. Zafar Sareshwal, appreciate you joining us, as well as Asad Khan Falehi. He's in the studio with us. Anila Singh, thank you. And Juhi Singh, Samajwadi Party spokesperson. Thank you there for joining us. That's all the time I'm afraid we had for now. But we continue to ask these questions, and it is pertinent that the UP police comes out and at least gives out a clarification, especially on the Supreme Court order that they have quoted in this particular order. Thank you all for joining us.
Thanks for watching the video. For more such news and updates, please like, share and subscribe to India Today. Also check out our other great videos from our channel. We know you would love to.